Hello students, I am Professor Zuhair Mirza. In today's video, we will learn one of the grammar topics, that is there is versus there are, how to choose. Students, when students they write letter writing, report or speech, essay, they tend to make this mistake. They do not know how to use there is and there are. Student, there is and there are, they are the phrase which is determined, you can see here, which is determined by the noun. And when it starts at the beginning of the sentence, it tells us about the noun. It's going to tell there is. Whatever is going to come after there is will come what? Noun. And what comes after there are, it's also noun. That is why what I have written here, the choice between the phrases there is and there are at the beginning of a sentence is determined by the noun. But most students and most people, they make error when they use there is and there are. So when you're talking about noun and when you're using there is and there are, you have to keep in mind then when to use there is and when to use there are. So now student, here you can see, let's start with the first one, there is. Now how to use there is? When there is a noun here and this noun should be what? Singular. This noun should be singular. Once again I tell you that today we are going to study there is versus there are. Now here we are going to clear the choice between the phrase there is and there are, how it should be used in the sentence. As I told you, most people they make mistake when they use there is and there are. So students, when you use there is and when you talk about noun after that, see that the noun should be in singular. Example, there is a cat. So you can see that I have started with the phrase there is, and when I talked about the noun, this is a noun. So this noun is what? Singular. The same goes with the second one, student. The second one is there are. Even there are follows with, student, noun. But this noun should be what? Plural. When I am using there are, see that example here, there are two cats. So you have seen that I have started with the phrase there are followed with noun two cats. So two cats is a noun, but this noun is in plural. So see that in future when you write essay, when you write speech or whatever writing skills you write, whatever writer, whatever article you write, please do not make this mistake between there is and there are. And how to choose, I have given you a short description that the choice between the two phrases there is and there are, when you start, it is started at the beginning of the sentence, is determined by noun. So whenever, whatever the word which comes next to there is and there are is what? Noun. So you have to be very clear, the noun which you use after there is, there are, it should be either in singular or plural. If you use there is, see that the noun should be in singular. And if you use there are, see that the noun should be in plural. See, do not make this mistake. Now students, I have given you the description between how to choose whether there is versus there are. Now let's solve 5 sentences and let's see what comes in that blank is or are. Okay, now students, we will do exercise based on what we have learned before this. There is versus there is. There is versus there are. How to choose. So now student, you can see here on the whiteboard I have written 7 sentences. It's in the fill in the blanks form. If the form questions or sentences, you can see here use is there or there is, are there or there are. Okay. Once again, I explain you, I do revision that when to use there is and there are. There is will be used when the noun that comes after there is should be in singular. And when you will use there are, when the noun which will be used after there are should be in plural. So in short, use there is when noun is singular. Use there are when noun is in plural. So now student, you can see the sentence number 1, dash no milk in the fridge. So here milk is uncountable now. So here I will use there is no milk in the fridge. Suppose instead of this first sentence, I'll use dash no snails in the ground. So there are no snails in the ground. Let's come to second. Dash how many rooms in your house? You can see here the question mark over here, student. So here I will use in a question form. I'll use either is there or there are based on the noun that is there in the sentence. So you can see here, student, many rooms. Many rooms is in plural. So I will use are there. Are there many rooms in your house? And what will be the sentence of this question? There are many rooms in the house or in your house. Dash a horse there. So here you can just write instead of there is, dash a horse in the yard. Okay. So what you will use here? There is a horse. Why? Because a horse is singular. This was plural. Because it was plural, I used are there. Because it is singular, I used there is. Dash one question left. So student, one question is singular. The noun talks about singular. So here I'll use there is. What if I turn this sentence into a question? Is there one question left? Question mark. Okay, let's move on to 7. Dash 7 days in a week. So you can see here 7 days is a noun. And this is plural. So I'll use there are. There are 7 days in a week. 7 days is in plural. Sixth one. Sorry, what will be the question form of this? Are there 7 days in a week? Question mark. Let's go to 6th one. Dash 7 cushions on the sofa. Again, this is plural. So there are 12 cushions on the sofa. Next, come to 7th one. Dash a mirror in the hall. So a mirror is singular. So I'll use there is. And what if I use this sentence into question? Is there a mirror in the hall? Question mark. The students, don't be baffled when to use there is or there are. It's very simple. You can see this video and you can understand that when to use there is and when to use there are. So it's a short revision we will do. We had started with there is versus there are, how to choose. I told you the choice between the phrase there is, there are is all about what? It's about noun, that is determined by noun which is either in singular or plural. Use there is when noun is singular. Use there are when noun is plural. See that there is, there are, it comes in the beginning of the sentence and it is determined by the noun. And the noun should be either singular for there is, it should be plural for there are. So whatever queries you have, you can ask me and I will solve it. Now I have prepared a quiz based on there is versus there are, which I'll give you after you understand this video. Thank you for watching it.